Welcome to DozoChem. This video covers balancing chemical equations. Let's start with some terminology. When you see a chemical equation, the chemicals on the left of the arrow are known as reactants, and the chemicals on the right are known as products. You'll sometimes also see after each reactant and product an abbreviation that tells you the state. So S for solid, L for liquid, G for gas, and AQ for aqueous, which means your chemical is dissolved in water. So if you look down here at the bottom, we have an example. Substance A, which is a solid, reacts, and we use the word yields. You can pronounce the arrow yields. Substance B, which is a gas. Now, there'll be numbers in front of the chemicals in a balanced equation, X and Y. Those numbers are known as coefficients. If there's no number there, you assume it's 1. So, balancing equations, your goal is to make the number of atoms of each element the same on both sides of the equation. And the way you figure out the number of atoms is take the coefficient times the subscript. So right here we have a balanced equation. 2O3 gas goes to 3O2 gas, and you can prove that it's balanced because the coefficient here, 2, times the subscript 3, means there's 6 oxygen atoms on the left. And if you go to the right, the coefficient of 3 and subscript 2, if you multiply those, you will see that there are 6 oxygens on the right. So it's a balanced equation. Now let's look at an example where we're starting with an unbalanced equation and we want to balance it. If you counted up the number of atoms on the left and right, you would see that there's 1 oxygen on the left and 2 on the right. So we're going to need to increase the number of oxygens on the left, and the way we do that is by changing the coefficient of the chemical on the left, in this case water. If I do that, everything that I had on the left will be doubled. So now I have 4 hydrogens and 2 oxygens, and on the right 2 hydrogens and 2 oxygens. So oxygen's all set, but hydrogen, we need to now increase the amount on the right. So what we're going to do is put a 2 in front of the hydrogen. If you do that and add up the total, there's 4 hydrogens, 2 oxygens on the left. Just factoring in this 2 here, right? There's your 4 hydrogens and 2 oxygens, and 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogens and 2 oxygens on the right, so that one's balanced. Now here's a tip for some of the more complicated ones. If you see an element that occurs in more than one reactant or more than one product, you want to balance that chemical last. So if you notice here, oxygen's in 2 different places on the left and 2 different places on the right. So you want to stay away from oxygen to start. So let's deal with carbon and hydrogen first. If you look over here, there's 3 carbons, and originally there was just 1 carbon here. So if I put a 3 in front, I now have 3 carbons on both sides. Hydrogen, there's 7 here, but don't forget this one, which gives you a total of 8. There were originally 2, so if I put a 4 here, that'll give me 8 hydrogens. So carbon and hydrogen are now balanced, but oxygen, 3 times 2, there's 6 here, and 4 times 1 gives you an extra 4. So that's 10 oxygens total on the right. On the left, we just have this one here and 2 more here, a total of 3. So we need to increase the number of oxygen atoms. So what you can use is a fraction to get your number of oxygens up to 10. There's 1 here, so we only need 9 more. So if we multiply the O2 by 9 halves, 9 halves times 2 will give you 9 extra oxygens. So right now we have 1 here and a total of 9 here. That gives us our 10 oxygens, and we needed 10. And it's balanced. So it's perfectly fine to leave it like that, and it is considered a balanced equation, but sometimes you are asked to give your answer with lowest whole numbers. So to do that, you just take your equation and multiply all the coefficients by some integer to get rid of the fraction. So in this case, we had 9 halves, and we want to get rid of that, so we're going to multiply everything by 2. So if you just come up here and look at the coefficients, you double them all in your final answer, and that won't change the balancing. It'll still be balanced. Everything will be double what it was before, but now you will have a balanced equation. So it's a bit of trial and error. It takes a little practice, but eventually you'll get used to it. So that's it for this video. Good luck.